Welcome to 6-Minute Statistics. In this video, I want to talk to you about some basic probability terminology. We're going to head out to the 6-Minute Statistics Casino and see what these terms mean and how they work. Let's go.
Give me 6 minutes and I'll teach you something new. Now, let's get to work.
Hello again, Mark here from 6-Minute Statistics, and somebody's happy with his new mug. In this video, I want to introduce you to the wonderful world of probability. The classic examples to use with probability involve flipping a coin or drawing different colored balls from an urn. While you'll learn the basic concepts with these examples, there's a real chance they'll bore you to death. So I thought it'd be a little bit more entertaining if we looked at the same concepts through the scope of our casino and some games of chance. Now, big caveat before I begin. Gambling of any form, whether it's casino, a lottery, sports betting, whatever it happens to be, there's a very real chance that you're going to lose money. There's also a chance that you'll get addicted to the behavior, and that will take you down a really, really bad road. If you want to have some entertainment and have some extra money to spend, have at it, no judgment from me. However, if you're trying to make money or earn money, gambling is the worst place to do that. Try and come up with a different way or a better way to make some money. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about probability terms. Usually we start this discussion with the thought of an outcome. We're generating outcomes. Before we generate an outcome, however, we have to talk about the experiment. And I'm going to define that as whatever process you're doing to generate an outcome. We may be rolling a ball on a roulette wheel or flipping over a card while playing blackjack or poker. Those are the two experiments that I'm going to talk you through in this video as we look at the different definitions. When I'm playing roulette, I'm going to be playing on an American-style roulette wheel. And what that means are there are numbers 1 through 36 that are either red or black, and then there's two additional numbers, and they're green. There's a 0 and a 00. Some other roulette wheels have other options for the 0 and the 00, but we're going to be talking about the 38 outcomes on the American roulette wheel. When I'm playing cards, I'm going to be working with what's called a standard 52 card deck. What that means is there are 13 cards. There's an ace, there's the numbers 2 through 10, and then there are 3 face cards called the jack, the queen, and the king for each of 4 suits. So 13 cards, some of which are clubs, then there's diamonds, then there's hearts, and there's spades. 13 cards and 4 suits gives you 52 cards. If I'm interested in an outcome when I'm dealing cards, say the jack of clubs, that jack of clubs is the most basic type of outcome possible when I'm flipping over a card. That's called a sample point. Just like in roulette, if I talk about rolling a 12, that's a sample point. That's as basic as the outcomes come. If I list out all the outcomes in roulette, so if I list out the numbers 1 through 36, and then the 0 and the 00, that's the collection of all sample points. We call that a sample space. There are 38 sample points in roulette. There are 52 sample points when I'm dealing a single card, because there are 52 cards in the deck. If I write out all those different cards, all 52 of them, those sample points, that's the sample space, the collection of all sample points. Sample points have a unique characteristic. There's 2 probability rules that are always applied to sample points. The first is the probabilities have to be between 0 and 1, and the second is the probabilities of all sample points must sum to 1. What do you think the chance of me getting the jack of diamonds is when I flip over a card? Now, if we make the assumption that each outcome is equally likely after I shuffle the deck, we're going to be able to say the probability of getting the jack of diamonds is 1 out of 52. Those are sample points. The last term I want to talk to you guys about in this video is an event. An event is a collection of sample points. Now, an event may be just a single sample point. You may be interested in the probability of roll a 12, or you may be interested in the probability you get an even number. Think about that, an even number. That's not just a 12, that's a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10, a 12, all the way up through 36. Remember, the 0 and the 00 in roulette count as neither even nor odd, and they're neither red nor black, different ways you can bet in roulette. So of the 36 numbers, 18 of them are even. That's going to be called an event. If I think about the card example, rather than talking about the jack of diamonds, a sample point, maybe I'm interested in the probability that I get a face card. And again, let me go back and say, face cards are jack, queens, and kings, and then there's 4 different suits. There are 12. Jack, queen, king, that's 3, and there's 4 suits. 3 times 4 is 12 different face cards. Events are more interesting to us but they're usually a little bit more challenging to get probabilities. I'm going to hold that probability discussion to another lesson. What I want to finish this lesson with is a diagram of these different outcomes. They're called Venn diagrams. They were invented by a man named John Venn in the 1880s, and what he said is draw a rectangle and draw in all the different sample points. That's called the sample space. So the sample space is in the rectangle. He then used different geometric shapes to group sample points together into the different events of interest. What you're looking at now are the 38 different possibilities in the roulette example. You'll notice I've listed them kind of funny because I want to partition them off. One of the ways of betting in roulette is to bet whether the number comes from the first third, the second third, or the third third of numbers. So the first third would be 1 through 12, second third 13 through 24, and then 25 through 36. And so I can put a circle around the different thirds. And now I'm going to include whether the number was even or odd. So I'm going to use a rectangle now, and I'm going to indicate the even and the odd. These Venn diagrams are useful to see how different events or outcomes relate to one another. So in this video, we talked about what an experiment is. We've talked about the definition of a sample point, a sample space, and an event. We also took a look at the Venn diagrams. That's a good start, and that's probably closing in on the end of my 6 minutes. And so now, so long.